I, f32, left my husband, 42 meters, because I think he was too physically close to his mother. Hey Reddit. I was married to my husband for about a year. I have been living apart from him for a few months now. I finally have the time to think about everything that's happened. I started going to a therapist and she told me my mill gave me all the proof I needed to confirm that my husband was sexual with his mom. She said my husband and his mom have an enmeshed relationship. His dad left when he was young and she calls my husband her favorite son openly. My husband has a brother. My therapist said that she used my husband as a replacement when her husband left. I'm struggling with this because I feel like I don't have real proof that him and my mill are really crossing the line. But a few times my gut has told me they are. Also, from what I've seen, there is a probability of it. Maybe I had enough to go off of to really leave him, or maybe I was just being jealous. Here's some of the things that have happened. When I first was interested in him, his colleagues told me he was really attached to his mother. He talked about her a lot to them and stayed with him every summer. I didn't think much of this and thought it was nice he valued his mother. First time meeting her was great. We went to her house and all seemed well till dinner. Then she began rubbing the inside of his upper thigh with her foot under the table. I was uncomfortable but didn't say anything and thought maybe this was just affection. The next night we were watching TV and she put her feet in his lap. He instantly started massaging them. She moaned kind of oddly. I thought this was just more affection and tried to ignore the weird moaning. Next day she was talking to husband about how she was buoyant because of her big boobs. Odd. But okay. We left the next day and I had been trying to stuff down the weirdness that lingered with me. A few weeks later my husband told me about how his mom would take him to a resort every other year. He talked about all the things she would buy him and how much he loved it. I got curious and decided to ask him more questions. I said, "Oh wow. Does she get you your own room too?" Quote. He said no. I laughed and said, "Well, at least you get your own bed." He got super defensive and said, "So what if I have my own bed or not?" "It's nothing sexual." I said it was a little weird that he shared a bed with his mom, and he said I was a judgmental prick. He yelled at me on and off for the rest of the night. Then summer rolled around and she came to visit us. He told me they were compromising for me and that she would only stay for 3 weeks instead of the usual whole summer. I still was not looking forward to 3 weeks of awkwardness. But I planned on keeping positive about it and decided I would try to get to know her better. So much weird happened when she was staying with us, so I'll try to just hit the really weird out there ones in detail. But overall, every time I tried to talk to my husband, she would stand or sit in between us. She frequently sat on his lap and kind of bounced on him. One night after dinner we were eating popsicles for dessert. She was sitting directly across from my husband and staring at him. She sucked that popsicle like it was the best dick she's ever had. I thought maybe it was in my head, but then she started moaning. I was shocked and absolutely mortified. It was like watching a porn ad. She got the melting popsicle all over her face. She has lip fillers that have kind of deflated in her age, so it looked absolutely disgusting paired with the moaning. Her baggy lips up and down, in and out on the popsicle combined with moans. It took all my strength not to burst out laughing. I started playing guitar to cover the sound of the moans and she seemed to get pissed. I talked to my husband when we were alone before bed. I asked him if he thought the popsicle thing was strange and he said yeah, a little, but don't make a big deal about it. I asked him why she did that and he said to not talk to him about it. Over the next few days I would catch them playing footies under the table at meals. He would come up behind her and pull her body into the front of his real close and massage her shoulders. She would kind of grind on him a little. It was so weird to watch. I kinda blushed and walked away. I finally sat my husband down and said I was feeling uncomfortable with the amount of physical closeness he had with his mom. He blew up and pretty much said she would notice if he wasn't physical with her and she would get mad at him. He said there was nothing wrong with how physical they were and that I was a jealous person. We still had a week left of her visit, and after many hours of fighting and him calling me a jealous bitch, I told him I needed to set up some boundaries. I said that I would ask her in front of him to be a little less physical with him because it made me feel uncomfortable. He said fine after hours of fighting and me stating this was a boundary for our relationship and I needed to be heard. He also said that I'd regret it. We were sitting by the fireplace the next night and I told her I grew up with different levels of affection than their family, and I felt a little uncomfortable with the level of physical affection her and my husband were showing. She said, laughed and said, "What, like this?" and grabbed my husband by his inner thigh, practically crotch. My husband said, "Mom," and shook her off. Then she laughed again and put her feet on his lap. He massaged her feet and she moaned a little. I went to bed and pretty much stayed to myself the rest of the week, avoiding them as much as possible. After she left, I was talking to my husband's brother's GF. I told her I felt weird about how physical my husband and his mom were. She told me that my husband's brother told her that his mother did stuff that I can't post on here. I'll say it could still have possibly been seen as educational, but I'm sure many people would have seen it as a problem. I asked my husband about a specific thing brother GF told me and he said that was a total lie. He called his brother and said, "That never happened, right, brother?" His brother sheepishly agreed. After this, my husband got more and more angry at me every day for everything I did. Small things like leaving a sock the wrong side out in the laundry. I eventually moved out, but I told him I felt pushed out. He ended up telling me that it was because I didn't like his mom and made up stories about her. This isn't a complete account of what happened, just some of the highlights. We went to couples therapy, but I felt like it made things worse. A lot to unpack there that I won't go into since this is already a novel. I feel like I shouldn't have made him choose between me or his mother. But I also felt so uncomfortable with their physical closeness. I don't know if I made the right choice to leave or if I should have accepted their kind of relationship. TLDR. Left my husband because he was physically close to his mother and it made me uncomfortable. He pushed me away when I asked him about it. But a few times my gut has told me, thinking face. Then she began rubbing the inside of his upper thigh with her foot under the table. Ah, hell nah. And you married him after this? Face vomiting, face vomiting, face vomiting, face vomiting. The next night we were watching TV and she put her feet in his lap. He instantly started massaging them. She moaned kind of oddly. Nah. Stop this. This better be a troll post. So what if I have my own bed or not? It's nothing sexual. I said it was a little weird that he shared a bed with his mom and he said I was a judgmental prick. He yelled at me on and off for the rest of the night. And you married him? I'm right on the line between, it just sounds so incredibly improbable that he's actually having an affair with his mom that's short of actual proof, and, well, I guess parents molesting their children does exist. And it's conceivable that he might have just never broken out of the grooming because he couldn't admit to himself that she molested him. He is a victim of his mother's abuse. ANF, he can't even see it. I'm not sure there's anything you could do for him if he doesn't want to help himself. These stories are like the beginning of Crime Channel episode for serial killers. Honestly, it sounds like she sawed him his entire childhood. And maybe brother too. After his dad was out of the picture and made him believe that accepting that kind of intimacy from her was the only way he would ever receive love from her. That it was something natural. I feel sorry for him. That he's still stuck in the cycle of abuse is incredibly sad. And the fact that he was pushing Op away seemed like more manipulation from Mill. Mill is the epitome of disgusting and she should be in jail. This is 100% a fake fetish incest post. I'm thinking it's the same troll who made the post about the husband who only likes his wife when she looks like his mom and wears the red wig. Wow, this is too much. I don't think any man have that kind of disgusting relationship with his mom unless they're secretly carrying out an affair. Such relationships can't be hidden and always seeps through. Glad you went by your instincts and left him. Wow, I'm so disgusted by this but also curious for some reason about the thing you can't mention. Yeah, this wasn't normal. And TBH. You kinda made me realize I think a part of my family was like this but just not on that insane level. And yeah, I would have left. Any sane person would have. It wasn't on you at all. I'm sorry but that's too much to read, but he's definitely sleeping with his mom. Good riddance.
WDF.
I am gonna throw up. That is so disgusting. Please tell me that you divorce him. This is so disgusting. I'm so sorry. It's so upsetting because she's properly groomed and abused him, and now that he's an adult he's trapped in it. He's clearly making the choices himself, but even the "she'll notice and get mad at me" screams that this guy is stuck in something that his mom has created. She was supposed to protect him and instead made him her fill-in husband. There is a subreddit about covert incest that might be helpful to read. So clearly he is enmeshed emotionally. Plus all the rest. What would be the final nail in the coffin is dismissing your concerns and telling you that mommy comes first, that is greater attachment to mommy and not to you. He already chose mother and he isn't budging on that one, to the point of getting his brother to deny everything. Your therapist is correct. She made her sons the replacement husband. Very toxic behavior. She also has control over them to the point they defend her. Time to move on and reflect on why you chose him. I note that people hide a lot of what they deep down know isn't okay. So that is something to think about, that you might not have found any red flags before marriage, but that people often relax after getting married in the belief that they have you trapped. Good luck on your recovery. What the ever-loving. That's Reddit for this month. My eyeballs feel dirty. I need a detox or bleach bath. Something. It sounds like your Mill sexually abused your husband when he was a child and has never stopped. He may well think it's normal behavior as that's what he used to. I hope he eventually gets the help he needs. Some parents are monsters. Why did you marry Norman Bates? I don't know if I made the right choice to leave. WTF? Seriously? If I should have accepted their kind of relationship. Seriously? You need a lot more therapy. A lot. Why oh why did you marry him with this disturbing incestuous relationship going on? He can't get help until he admits he needs it. He'd rather throw you away than admit he's been groomed into her disgusting relationship. There is no way to be healthy in that toxic mess. I'm a single mom and there's no way I would do this to my sons. I'd belong in jail if I did. If your husband has been through what you say, he's likely a victim of child abuse. And it sounds like he's not ready to face that. He needs some serious therapy to come to terms with this, and to process and move past it. Whether you want to be a part of that or not is up to you. It might never happen. You have to make your own decisions about where your lines are and what your needs are. This sounds more like a creative writing exercise with a hint of incest fetish than a real story. The popsicle part gave it away, TBH. You described in a weird way. Plus there's no advice requested. Just a long incest porn story with a generic ending. Not trying to be mean here. I'm just a bit suspicious. It definitely sounds like he's been sexually abused by her his whole life. And it's continued on. He probably feels shameful and embarrassed and afraid. Maybe someday he'll open up and talk to someone. And get out of his mother's grasp. It doesn't sound like he's ready for that though. You could definitely try to encourage him to talk to you. A therapist. Or listen to something about emotional incest. Enmeshment. And saw. If you wanted to. Good God. Thank the Lord you didn't have children. You did the right thing. They're both absolutely disgusting and you're better off without them present in your life.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aaskt is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.